One man, one mic, one direction, one clear mission. I'm yours, Eddie Falme, presenting to you the public opinion. Listen, as Rigathi Gachagua Kindiki'S saga continues, massive drama is unfolding. And today, Monday, May 12th, 2025, in the morning, a man called Irungu Nyakera, the former KICC board chairperson, remember the guy that was fired by Ruto immediately he landed on the mountain during the Mount Kenya tour? That guy, Irungu Nyakera, issued a statement to the world, and he said in bold and capital that tomorrow, Tuesday 13th May, Gachagua allies and supporters will be marching to the Deputy President Kindiki'S current home, and they will basically be marching to reclaim the office. Let me give you final details according to this article by kenyans.co.ke. So listen up. Gachagua allies and supporters to march to the official residence of the Deputy President in Karen on Tuesday, it should be May 13th, okay, in a power move to reclaim the office, according to the former KICC board chairperson Irungu Nyakera. In a statement on Monday, May 11, Nyakera claimed that the peaceful procession will follow an international press conference at Chester House, and pickups will be made in several Nairobi estates, including Kayole, Dandora, Muthurwa, Kawangware, Githurai, Pumwani, Mwiki, Utawala, and Ngong. According to him, this is because of the latest ruling by the Court of Appeal, arguing that the former deputy president was duly elected into his seat in the 2022 general elections and thus needed to retain his seat. This, of course, follows the ruling by the Court of Appeal on Friday last week that the three-judge bench that was installed by the deputy chief justice that kicked out Rigathi Gachagua out of his office was unconstitutional, and the subsequent ruling that Gachagua had to leave office is therefore null and void. Okay? So, Gachagua allies and supporters are basically saying that Kithure Kindiki is an illegitimate deputy president and he ought to leave office, and the legitimate DP Mandarigiji ought to be reinstated to his office. That is the rule of law, and that is what Ruto should submit to. Remember, Ruto always runs around singing about democracy, the rule of law, and he himself is the chief violator of the same rule of law. Okay? So Ruto is basically a cornered man. So Ruto and his cronies are cornered and they have nowhere to run to. By the way, listen to this. This is very important. The UDA government or the Kenya Kwanza government or Ruto and his cronies, they would have appealed this decision only at the Supreme Court. Ruto and his goons would have appealed the Court of Appeal ruling last Friday that nullified the three-judge bench that was installed by the Deputy Chief Justice. Ruto would have appealed that decision only at the Supreme Court. And listen, the Supreme Court needs 7 judges to make a determination. The Supreme Court needs 7 judges to make a ruling. Of the 7 judges, the Deputy Chief Justice is one of them. And this case, the fact that affects her prominently, or she is at the core of the case, she cannot be on the bench at the Supreme Court determining the appeal of this particular case. She has to recuse herself. So the Supreme Court won't have quorum, if you can put it that way, or won't have the substantial number of judges that is needed to make a ruling, and therefore Ruto and his guys cannot move to the Supreme Court. Okay? There's no quorum. He cannot take that case there. And he cannot go to the High Court because the High Court had issued stay orders before or at the time of the impeachment of the DP. Okay, so the High Court had issued stay orders, meaning it was supporting that the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, stays in office up until a substantial evidence is provided or presented to the same court as to why he should be impeached and why he should forfeit power or he should forfeit his DP position. Okay, so Ruto is a cornered guy. He cannot go to the Supreme Court. He cannot go to the appellate court. He cannot go to the High Court. What happens in the dark will always be exposed in the light. So, a lot of political tensions are rising because of these events, and I'm just waiting, and I'll be reporting. We're going to see what happens tomorrow because this is massive. As I said, this is a big one. So we're just waiting. I'll be here. I'll be reporting to you, and we're gonna see what happens. Otherwise, you preach water, you take water. You cannot preach democracy and submission to the rule of law while you are the one subverting the same. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Remember to share, follow, and subscribe.